A chemist has three acid solutions at various concentrations. The first is 10% acid, the second is 20% acid, the third is 40% acid. How many milliliters of each should she use to make 100 milliliters of 17% solution? If she has to use 4 times as much of the 10% solution as the 40% solution. So first of all, we know we can let the amounts of the solutions be represented by X, Y, and Z. Then the amount of solution, the solutions would be X milliliters of the 10% acid plus Y milliliters of the 20% solution plus Z milliliters of the 40% solution. And that has to make 100 milliliters. We also have an equation based on acid content, and this takes into account that in X milliliters of 10% solution, you have 10% X acid. Similarly, you would have 20% of Y milliliters acid and 40% of Z milliliters acid. And we're going to have 100 milliliters of 17% acid, so we're going to have 17% of 100 milliliters, which is equal to 17 milliliters of acid. And lastly, we have 4 times as much of the 10% as the 40% solution. So the amount of X has to equal 4 times the amount of Z. So she has 4 times as much of the 10% solution, that's X, equals 4 times Z. So putting this in matrix form, we'll have 1, 1, 1, 100, and I'm going to multiply everything by 10 in the second row before I write down the matrix, and that's going to give me 1, 2, 4, and 170. And then I'm going to move the Z to the left-hand side to give 1, 0, 4, 0 for the third equation. So I wrote down an augmented matrix to a slightly modified system. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to subtract row 1 from row 3 and put that into row 3. And I'm going to subtract row 1 from row 2 and put that into row 2. And so that will give me 1, 1, 1, 100, 0, 1, 3, 70, and 0, -1, 3, -100. Now I'm going to add row 2 to row 3 and put the result in row 3. So 1, 1, 1, 100, 0, 1, 3, 70, 0, 0, 6, and -30. And now I think I've got an error here, so let's see if I can find it. Oh, when I moved the 4z to the left-hand side, I should have gotten a coefficient of -4 there. So when I added row 3, or when I took row 3 and subtracted row 1, that should not have been a 3. It should have been a -5. And so then when I add row 2 and 3, the 6 should have been a -2. So now I can multiply row 3 by -1/2. Put that back in row 3. And that's going to give me our row echelon form. 1, 1, 1, 100, 0, 1, 3, 70, and 0, 0, 1, 15. So we have that Z equals 15 milliliters. That's the amount of the 40% acid. We have that Y plus 3Z equals 70, which is equivalent to Y plus 45 equals 70, or Y equals 25 milliliters. And then we know that X plus Y plus Z equals 100. So X plus 25 plus 15 equals 100 tells us that X equals 60. So 60 milliliters of 10% solution, 25 milliliters of 20% solution, and 15 milliliters of 40% solution.